Hello world, Lana here, coming at you with a quick thought of the day. And that thought comes from a realization that I think I laugh a lot more in my work and just in general in life. And and yeah, what kind of impact has that had on me? What does that mean? Let's get into it. So backstory: when I was little, I would say up until, I don't know, birth to a grade 5. So I guess, I don't know how old you are in grade 5. I was like a super lighthearted, goofy kid. I would wear, at least in my opinion, I would wear bright yellow overalls with like knee-high purple socks, and I would like skip through the halls of my school. I actually got an award for like, I can't remember what it was called, but something along the lines of like sharing my joy of dance and skating at that time. And yeah, I was just like totally cool with being, not taking myself seriously, and I guess just like living expansively and joyfully. And I sort of got into competitive figure skating. I think I started taking myself very seriously, life very seriously, and just all this pressure and the constraints started weighing down on me, and I feel like I started to lose that. And sort of earlier years of high school, I'd quit competitive figure skating and was basically desperately trying to recreate my identity and figure out what was next for me, and really dove into my studies. So I'd spend my lunches in the library, and I got a sort of internship at a law office, and I'd wear suits to school and just took myself very seriously. And when I reflect back on that time, it's not that I wasn't enjoying myself at all, but man, it could have been a lot more joyful. It could have been a lot more fun, and a lot less stressful. Like, geez, it's not like I was solving world hunger, but I was so determined, which is a really great thing, quality to have. But yeah, just put a lot of pressure on myself. And when I graduated high school, I remember someone telling me, Lana, people were kind of afraid of you. You were really intimidating back in high school. And I was like, what? Really? Me? Intimidating? And it's funny because although I took myself very seriously and was trying to do my best and really pour myself into getting the best grades and being involved and getting to the university of my choice and figuring out what I wanted to do with my life and developing myself, I didn't see myself as someone who should be or would be intimidating. And I think it's because I was just so self-critical. Like, what? Little old me? Like, I'm nothing. But the way I was presenting myself had a very different outlook and to other people. And anyway, I'm so glad that I think over time I realized that, like, I don't know, raking yourself over the coals for every little thing doesn't really get you anywhere. And this was something I was thinking about the other day too, how, like, when I was little, if I did something wrong, my parents would be there to punish me. And so I think when I moved out of the house, and if I effed up in any kind of way in life, I would like give myself the lashings mentally. And it was interesting. I'm like, because I used to be, my parents would be the one to punish me, and now I was punishing myself because I felt guilty for if I did something wrong and there wasn't a consequence other than, like, let's say I crashed my car. Obviously, I'm going to have to pay for the damages and the consequence of, like, not having a car for a while, or my insurance is going to be affected. But there was nobody, as a free adult, there's nobody above me, I guess, that's going to say, hey Lana, that was terrible, don't do that again. So I kind of like started taking it upon myself to like have my own like mental authority figure. But you know, I realized over time that just created shame and guilt, and that like I could learn from mistakes and lessons in life without like making myself feel bad and ashamed about it, and attributing that failure to my like own personal shortcomings or making it a character flaw. And so I think that shift happened or slowly started to happen, and I still have to work on this, to be honest. And then, I don't know, I feel like I could also attribute sort of my laughing more and taking life less seriously, probably to my husband as well, because he's so good at that. But yeah, like no one gives you, I think this is the concept I want to bring up. There's no medal for you got through life and you took yourself very seriously and you went about everything with earnest determination and took yourself very seriously. Like, there's no medal for that. There's no award for that. You're probably connecting less with people because you're having to probably put up a front of like, I'm perfect, or like, everything's fine. But I've found more often when I show up as my authentic, flawed human self, one, I feel better because I'm showing up as me, and me, the real me, has permission to be human. But it also, by showing up as me, I give someone else the permission to show up as them, as their human self who has flaws, and that allows me to connect better. And I think in those moments of human connection where we're not taking ourselves seriously but our work seriously, or our intentions are earnest and sincere, we can have a little bit more fun. And I think that joy is so important in, well, filling our cups and our building up our windows of tolerance, that allow us to deal with the ups and downs and the challenges of life. But I'm sure, as you've probably heard, the people you work with and the relationships you have at work are really important and are often why people stay at a workplace. And so I think if you're laughing with your colleagues, you're probably going to want to stay where you are and you're going to continue to be motivated to do your work. And similarly, in our relationships, showing up as your authentic, vulnerable self and having vulnerable conversations with your friends, I think is going to allow you to connect better and feel closer. And being vulnerable and laughing with your partner, I think that's one of my favorite parts about my relationship with Greg. Even in the, even in the gross moments, like somebody farts and it sounds silly or it's stinky, being able to laugh about those little things is so important because it makes us feel seen, and seen in those ugly, quote unquote, ugly moments or imperfect moments, and still loved. And yeah, I think I just want to encourage you all to laugh more, find the silly little parts of life and hold on to them and relish in them, and really savor those moments where you find yourself having a moment of joyful connection with your loved ones, with your friends, with your colleagues. One of my favorite things to do with my colleague that I share an office right now is we'll burst into spontaneous sing-alongs. Like, one of us will say something and it'll end up actually being a lyric to a song, and often it's one thing at a time, one step at a time. It's a sort of mantra we use to encourage and comfort each other, and then we'll break into a song and dance. with that Jordan Sparks song, one step at a time, da 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 da. And if we took ourselves so seriously, we'd say those words, we'd move on, and that was that. And cool, that's fine. But taking 10 more seconds to be a little bit silly about it creates this like beautiful connecting moment that I will cherish for the rest of my life and is a highlight of my day and of my working relationships that I get to talk about and that I get to be grateful for. And it magnifies, I think, that moment and its impact, because just saying like whatever words is cool, but then when you bring in the emotion and the feeling, and then I mean a full-on sing-along, it's kind of hard to beat. Really brings up the vibe and the energy. And I'm not saying like go dance with your colleagues and start singing songs in your office. That very well may not be appropriate, or you might not have that capacity. But I think just in whatever small ways, like maybe it's wearing a funky pair of earrings to work, or just dressing for your own joy, or just being okay with like showing up with a little bit of that like bubbly energy, and or if you have like regular team huddles at your work, sharing, I don't know, something fun that's going on in your life and encouraging others to do that. Like, hey, I'm reading this book. It's really good. Y'all should read it too. Whatever. It just helps us, connect with each other, remind each other that we're humans. And there's so many other like wonderful things about us that we might not even show others on a regular basis. So anyway, this kind of went on a couple different tangents, but all that to say, I feel like I laugh a lot more, and I'm glad, and it makes life more fun, and I feel like I get to be me more of the time, and I don't think it's taken away my ability to succeed in any way. I think it's actually amplified it. And so vulnerability is a strength, and being like a positive force is very brave, and can have a positive impact in so many ways that you might not even realize immediately. So not a groundbreaking concept. I mean, smiling I don't know, I will never tell people to smile because I fucking hate that, especially if it's men telling them to smile. But trying to live more joyfully and just taking yourself less seriously, I think it will probably help you feel more joy and happiness and take some pressure off your shoulders. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You can have fun with it. And please do have fun with it, because we're only here for a short period of time. So you might as well enjoy the ride. Life is so challenging, so might as well savor and appreciate the weirdness and the awkwardness and the wondrousness of all of our quirks. So with that, I bid you farewell. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever time it is. And I take care. See you in the next one. I turned off my camera and then I thought of one more thought, and it's related to the Big Magic book by Elizabeth Gilbert. And the thought was triggered because the words that I spoke echoed in my ears. The words that I was saying was, this isn't groundbreaking, just like, don't take life so seriously and have fun with it. And I was like, you know what? It's so, like, I don't even need to say that. It's not groundbreaking, like, whatever. Because there are very few things in life that haven't been done. Very few things are original anymore. And, so that does not matter. And something that Elizabeth Gilbert talks about in her book is, because it's all about encouraging people to create and to make magic. And so one of the things she talks about is that one of the obstacles to people creating is the narrative that they tell themselves that, yeah, like it's all been done before, and I'm not going to be able to do it any better than what's already been done. And how this relates to what I was talking about, I think, is, but by showing up as your authentic self, not taking things so seriously, and putting your own unique spin on it, because everybody is unique, right? I could talk about, I don't know, why did I think of capitalism? I could talk about capitalism in one way. That's a very multifaceted topic, but this video, I'm sure there's 1,000 others like it on the internet. But the way I deliver it is going to be different than another person is going to deliver it. And the way I deliver it might resonate more with some people, and another video will resonate more with others. Does that mean that we should both, like, all, I don't know, there should only be one video on the topic of joyful living and everyone else should just delete their videos and get off of the internet? No, like, there's space in this world for many, many voices, and don't let you silence yourself and take your own hat out of the ring before you have even tried. You know what I mean? And that's, part of my approach to video making on my channel is very raw, very unedited. Like, I'm coming at you with my brows are done and I've got some lip gloss on. That's all you're getting. I could, try to put myself more together and have the perfect backdrop and wear a mic, which I really probably should do, just because I want to be a nice person and give my viewers nice sound quality. But when I'm creating, it's very like, sometimes I write things down and plan in advance, but oftentimes I'm literally reading a book in the moment. I read a good section and I have a thought and I go, oh yeah, I want to talk about this. Or I just had a conversation with a friend and I'm like really inspired and my brain juices are flowing and I want to turn on the camera and talk about it. And I don't know, I think